Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening, this is the National News broadcast from the National News Studios. I'm Prashant De Silva.
And I'm Shram Mascarenas. First is a look at the day's headlines.
It has been stressed that the relief of reducing prices should be passed to the general public. School food programs will be implemented covering from grade 1 to grade 5 in government schools. Party leaders' meeting has expressed strong protest against the central bank officials for their salary hike. Cabinet approval granted to President's proposal to prevent using school premises for politics. The no-confidence motion against the Speaker is presented. Founder of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Bas Rajapakse, arrived in the island. The UMP's political rally will be held in Kuliyapiti on the 10th of this month. The World Health Organization says that the children starved to death in northern Gaza.
Now for those and other stories in detail, starting off with local news. People praise the government for reducing the power tariff by 21.9%. For religious places, this reduction is about 33%. For hotel and industries, the deduction is about 18%.
Meanwhile, the common amenities category has 23% deduction and the state sector will enjoy 22% tax reduction with effect from last midnight. Meanwhile, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has reduced the price of fuel. A litre of 95-octane petrol has been reduced by 9 rupees. Its new price of 447 rupees per litre. The price of Lanka Super Diesel has been reduced by 10 rupees. The new price is 458 rupees per litre. Lanka Kerosene Oil has been reduced by 5 rupees per litre. Its new price is 257 rupees. Octane 92 petrol and Lanka White Diesel remains unchanged. Lanka IOC and Sinopec companies have also revised their prices in line with the Sepetco prices. Minister Kanchana Wijasekara said that to have profits from auto diesel, the price should be increased by about 12 rupees. Therefore, the only solution is to keep the price unchanged. The expenses of the corporation can be covered from the profits earned by other varieties. There is a 4% profit from super diesel and super petrol. There is no profit from kerosene oil. However, kerosene oil price was reduced by 5 rupees for the benefit of the needy people.
The Cabinet has given its approval to implement the Agricultural Modernization Program. The sum of 2.5 billion rupees has been allocated for the entire program. This is a proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. At the first stage, pilot projects are to be implemented at 26 selected divisional secretariat areas. 650 million rupees will be spent to set up agricultural modernization centers, each at a cost of 25 million rupees. 175 million rupees have been set aside for the Departments of Agriculture, Export Agriculture, Animal Products and Health and Cinnamon Development and the Sri Lanka Aquaculture Development Authority, providing 35 million rupees each. The government has decided to implement school food programs from grade 1 to grade 5 in government schools. These programs will cover entire population of 1.8 million school children. Food programs are scheduled to be started at 792 schools in 100 educational zones and a minimum amount of 110 million rupees. A minimum amount of 110 rupees will be allocated for one meal for a student. This program is effective for 170 days during this year for the primary students. This proposal was presented by Minister Susil Premajayanth. The government has decided to develop the main railway station buildings in the Colombo city as commercial centres. Accordingly, the buildings and premises of Vallavatta, Bambalapitiya, Kolpiti and Slave Island railway stations will be developed as a commercial hub. The Cabinet approved this proposal jointly presented by Ministers Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena and Prasanna Ranatunga. Devala and Mount Lavania railway stations will be constructed and developed under state and private partnership. Cabinet approval has also been given to the proposal to develop telecommunication industry through the enhancement of information and communication technology education. Under this program, 1,000 A-level schools and schools with ICT subjects will be provided with required equipments. The grants will be provided with the Telecommunication Development Fund. In addition, smart school projects will be implemented. 5,000 low-income families with students following ICT subjects for A-levels will be provided with scholarships. This proposal was jointly presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Education Minister Susil Premajayanth. The Cabinet has also recommended a proposal to construct a museum in historical Sitawaka area. The proposal was submitted by Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Ministers Vidura Wickramanayake and Dr. Bandula Gunawardena. The aim of this museum is to enlighten the public with information belonging to the Sitawaka era.
At the party leaders' meeting held in Parliament today, the party leaders expressed strong dissatisfaction to the central bank officials for arbitrarily increasing their salaries. The meeting was held under the patronage of Speaker Mahindayapa Abeyewardena. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandanala Veerasinghe, bank officials and trade union representatives were present at this meeting. This meeting was convened under a request made by Chief Opposition Whip Lakshman Kiriyalla. Although there are provisions in the new Central Bank Act to get independent decisions to increase their salaries, according to a Supreme Court decision, there should be two-third majority in Parliament to do so. The party leaders pointed out that although there are provisions under the new Act, the central bank officials cannot take an arbitrary decision to increase their salaries. However, Governor Dr. Nandanala Veerasinghe and the other officials pointed out that 5th, 8th and 23rd clauses of the Act, there are provisions for their decision. They also pointed out that the new Act has vested them the power to use the central bank funds to cover all the expenses, including administration, management and operations. Party leaders pointed out that although there are provisions under the 23rd clause of the Act to increase their salaries, it should be ultimately approved by the Parliament. Then the bank officials stated that these funds have been taken from the central bank funds but not from the government consolidated fund. Then the party leaders stressed that central bank funds are also public funds ultimately. Therefore, Parliament's approval is compulsory. Then the central bank officials pointed out that according to a collective agreement between trade unions and management, their salaries can be increased in each 3 years period. They also pointed out that such salary hikes have been done in the past as well as a tradition. However, the party leaders said that an agreement should be registered under the Ministry of Labour for its legitimacy. Bank officials accepted that they have not taken approval of the Ministry of Labour. Party leaders also said that the activities of the central bank were made independent by a new bill, not to increase their salaries arbitrarily, but to take independent decisions to prepare correct economic policies without political influence. Although there are legal provisions, it is not moral to have 70% salary hike at a time when the country and the people are suffering from economic crises. The party leader further pointed out that since there are many sections that needed to be immediate salary hikes, it is very unjustifiable to have such benefits for a single group. It has been stressed that an additional sum of 232 million rupees is spent monthly for these salary hikes. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandanala Veerasinghe, and several top bank officials were also summoned before the Cabinet of Ministers to question regarding this matter.
Founder of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, Bas Rajapakse, says that whoever wins the next election, it will be realized with the support of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna. Bas Rajapakse made these remarks after arriving in the island today. Bas Rajapakse came to the VIP terminal of the airport, and chief organizer of the ruling party Prasanna Ranatunga warmly welcomed him. General Secretary of the party, Attorney-at-Law Sagara Kariyasam, and many other party supporters were present at this occasion. Founder of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, Bas Rajapakse, said that whatever election comes first, he would officially organize the election campaign. The presidential election should be held first. To dissolve the parliament early, majority of parliamentarians should agree. Whoever wins whatever election in future, the support of Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna is essential to win. He said that their party will not deceive the public. The party acts according to people's will. Sometimes the party has failed to listen to the public. The party will correct its shortcomings and face diligently in any future election. The The Podujana Perumana has not yet taken a decision to field a candidate to the presidential election. The Polite Bureau of the party will meet, and the consensus of the party supporters, a decision will be taken within the next few days.
අපේක්ෂකයෙක්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙනත් අපේක්ෂකයෙක්ට සහාය දෙනවද කියලා නිශ්චිතව අපි හරියටම කිව්වොත් ඒකට උත්තරේ
ඒක තාම අපිට තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන නැහැනේ අපි දේශපාලන මණ්ඩලය රැස් වෙලා අපේ නායකතුමාගේ ජනතාවගේ පාක්ෂිකයන්ගේ අදහසුත් අරගෙන ඉදිරි දින කීපය තුලදී අපි ගන්නවා කලබල වෙන්න ඕනේ
ඉදිරි ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී රාජපක්ෂවරයෙක්ද ඉදිරිපත් වෙන ජනාධිපතිවරණය සඳහා
එහෙම ඒකත් ඉතින් ජනතාව තීන්දුව කරන්න ඕන මං හිතන්නේ නැහැ එහෙම ඒ කියලා
අපි ඒක දැඩිව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙලා හිටියා මොකද එතුමා පැමිණියා කියන්නේ ඊළඟ මැතිවරණය අනිවාර්යෙන් අපි ජයග්‍රහණය කරනවා
Sagar Karyavasam said that we are confident that with the arrival of Bas Rajapakse, the party will definitely win any election. Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana parliamentarian Namal Rajapakse said that the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana is the strongest political party in the country at present. The party will secure a unique victory in any of the upcoming elections.
Minister Dr. Bandad said that the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to ban the use of school premises for political purposes has been approved by the cabinet. The minister revealed this at the press briefing meeting held today at the Government Information Department to cabinet decisions. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandad said that the government does not block people and well-wishers donating funds and aid to schools. However, some elements are attempting to gain political mileage using school children. Therefore, provincial governors have been instructed to stop such political movements activating in school activities.
පළාත් පාලන ආයතන වල පළාත් ආණ්ඩුකාරවරුන්ටත් නියම කරන බවට යෝජනාවක් සම්මත වුණා. අපිට පෙර හිටපු හා පසුව හිටපු සියලුම දේශපාලන නායකයෝ පාසල දේශපාලන කටයුතු සඳහා භාවිතා කළේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා එය නොකළ යුතු දෙයක් ලෙස අද
The no confidence motion against Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena was handed over to the Deputy General Secretary of the Parliament, Chaminda Kularatna. 44 opposition parliamentarians have signed this motion. Representatives of several political parties were present at the occasion of handing over the no-confidence motion. They pointed out that the role of the Speaker in passing the online safety draft bill is detrimental to the Constitution. They stressed that the Speaker has violated the decisions of the Supreme Court.
Minister of Education Susil Premajanti says that students have become hostages for over a period of 1 year due to the interim injunction issued by courts preventing the holding of teachers recruiting competitive exams. The minister made these remarks in response to a question raised by the opposition leader in Parliament. Meanwhile, S.C. Muthukumarana was sworn in as parliamentarian today. S.C. Muthukumarana was elected as a parliamentarian for the vacancy created by the resignation of Anuradhapura District Parliamentarian Uddika Premaratna. Parliamentarian S.C. Muthukumarana was sworn in before Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena this morning. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that there is a shortage of 40,000 teachers in the education system. There are about 22,000 development officers serving in the education sector. They should be given a proper evaluation and absorbed into the teaching service under a proper procedure. Minister of Education Susil Premajanti said that 52,000 applications have been received. Out of them, a certain group carried this issue before the courts. The courts issued an interim injunction, but the final decision is yet to be declared. In the meantime, a judge retired. Due to this interim injunction, 4.3 million school children have become hostages. We have to respect to the Supreme Court decisions. However, a suitable action should be taken through the Parliament to solve this matter. Parliamentarian Vasantha Bandara expressed his respect to the Foreign Minister for bringing back 8 Sri Lankan youths who were detained in Myanmar. There should be diplomatic intervention to get these youths released. Foreign Minister President's Council Ali Sabri said that the government has mediated to this issue and the President has sent a letter to the acting President and the Prime Minister of Myanmar. After that, the Myanmar Internal Affairs Ministry has come forward to rescue these youths. Discussions are now going on with the ambassador to solve this problem without delay.
කරපු වෙලාවේ එතුමා කිව්වේ ඉක්මනටම ලංකාවට යවන්න කටයුතු කරනවායි කියන එක.
Parliamentarian Eroshan Pereira said that women and children complain that they face sexual harassment in public transport. CCTV cameras should be installed in buses. Minister Dr. Bandad said that the proposal is very timely. For the first time, the government expects to deploy 200 electric buses. These buses are fully equipped with new technical equipments. Out of them, 50 buses are to be brought to the country before the Sinhala New Year. The government has also discussed this matter with the Department of Motor Traffic.
අවශ්‍යම ඇතුළු කරන කියන එක පිළිබඳ අපි මෝටර් රථ ප්‍රවාහන කොමසාරිස් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව එක්කත් සාකච්ඡා පිළිවෙලක් යොදනවා. ණයපත්‍යෝගතකරණය අපි
State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said that the government expects to complete the debt restructuring process before the second quarter of this year. With that, the economic growth can be enhanced and the value of rupee will be further strengthened. The government expects to start the second review of IMF proposals on the 7th of this month. Government has no doubt that the third installment of the IMF loan can be released without any objection.
Now, the first public rally of the United National Party after Ranil Wickremesinghe became the president will be held on the 10th of this month at the Kuliapitiya urban grounds. A media briefing in this connection was held today under the patronage of Deputy Leader of the party, Akila Viraj Karyavasam. Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Akila Viraj Karyavasam, said that the President Ranil Wickremesinghe has commenced a program to provide relief to the general public. He said that the gas prices were reduced and probably fuel prices will be reduced next month. Therefore, the President's endeavour should be supported by the public without any differences. Deputy Leader of the United National Party said that the party has selected the theme reality for the political publicity campaign, which is scheduled to be launched by next week. Now, a book titled Avivadita Situvili, compiled by Dinesh Ravichandra Raja, was launched in Colombo yesterday. This book has been prepared by a collection of articles he published in the Facebook at numerous times. Although the author's mother tongue is Tamil, it is significant that he has written this book in Sinhala language. He has mentioned controversial issues erupted within the society from time to time. Professors, university lecturers, public representatives, journalists and distinguished guests were present at this occasion.
A group of students in the Colombo University started a protest march this evening, submitting several demands. This has been organized by several students' unions. They have presented several demands, including securing the free education and health. The protest march began in front of the arts faculty, and the police attacked the marchers with water cannons and tear gas. This has caused a heavy traffic congestion in front of the Colombo University. Then the police closed the roads, and it is reported that some protesters are still inside the university premises.
Now, the deadline for bidding to select a suitable investor to restructure Sri Lankan Airlines has been further extended at a press briefing held today. Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva says that the bidding period, which was to end today, will have to be extended for another 45 days. The minister added that the president has granted a huge sum of money for the restructuring process while safeguarding the employments of the workers. Now, in other stories for you, in addition to the officials and categories of individuals required to disclose their assets and liabilities as outlined in the amended Declaration of Assets and Liabilities Law Number 1 of 1975 by Act Number 74 of 1988, Section 80 of the Anti-Corruption Act Number 9 of 2023 introduces provisions for further disclosure by various other officials and categories of individuals. The necessity for disclosing liabilities is emphasized. According to this recent amendment, the President, Prime Minister, Members of Parliament, Provincial Governors, Provincial Council members and officers of the Provincial Public Service, elected representatives and officers of local government bodies, as well as judges and government officials appointed by the President, are mandated to disclose their assets and liabilities. This requirement extends to members and officers of ministries and government departments, as well as individuals appointed under Article 41A 1E of the Constitution who are not members of Parliament. Moreover, the relevant legislation mandates the establishment of a centralized electronic system for declaring assets and liabilities. Amendments have been introduced to the declaration process to align with the provisions of the new Act until the electronic system is fully operational. In accordance with the Anti-Corruption Act No. 9 of 2023, the Bribery or Corruption Allegations Investigation Commission has published a circular outlining the procedures for declaring assets and liabilities along with the revised declaration forms on their website www.ciaboc.gov.lk on the 1st, 3rd, 2024, as interested parties can download the necessary documents from this date onwards. Until further instructions are provided, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption urges concerned officials to promptly submit their assets and liability declarations as per the guidelines outlined in the aforementioned circular.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that the accountant support is essential for the service of both private and state sector. The Premier made these remarks at the convocation of US Chartered State Accountants Institute and the Management Accountant Chartered Institute 2024 at the Temple Trees yesterday. The Prime Minister added that talents and skills of the accountants should be utilized to maintain businesses amidst numerous challenges. Younger generations should study for highly qualified semi-exams to join the professionals accountants groups. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that Sri Lanka hosts the second largest community of chartered accountants after the United Kingdom.
A number of roads are being renovated in the Polonnaruwa district under the 1,500 kilometers of road development program. Accordingly, renovation of the access road to Namahirugama village in Madrigiriya was launched today under the patronage of State Minister Siripala Gamlath. A sum of 15 million rupees will be spent to develop and carpet 1 kilometer of this road.
The Family Planning Association of Sri Lanka hosted a successful policy discussion for policy reforms to remove all taxes on sanitary products, thereby making them more accessible and affordable in the country. The event commenced with an overview of existing taxes related to period products in Sri Lanka by the Advocacy Institute. It underscored that with the introduction of the new VAT amendment in late 2023, previously exempted sanitary napkins were no longer exempted, and at present the tax rate is at 51.07%. This oversight suggests a lack of coordination and understanding among those responsible for drafting the new act on a critical policy contributing to women's well-being, which raises concerns about the government's ability to effectively implement and sustain policy changes and the lack of mechanisms to hold the government accountable for abrupt policy shifts.
Sri Lanka today, the period poverty rate is 50%, which translates to 50% of households with women of menstruating age are not spending any amount of money on sanitary napkins. Although recent research is lacking, the aftermath of the economic crisis is expected to have amplified this issue significantly. Period poverty poses a range of challenges from physical to mental health issues to school absenteeism, gender-based violence and social isolation.
discussion on period poverty and the affordability of sanitary napkins have become so vital, especially during an economic crisis, and the country is in the recovery path. And the impact it has caused has trickled down to many avenues, one of them being the period poverty.
Definitely, period poverty has affected women and girls' health and well-being in Sri Lanka. And then we have to also talk about missed opportunities when we talk about period poverty, where we have seen so many women and girls, especially girls, being unable to attend schools, missing schools, skipping schools, especially after the crisis. We have seen anecdotal evidence. We have spoken to our civil society partners. We actually see it when you go to a community, you see this situation. When you speak to schools, you hear about this. You hear it from the ministries, so you have enough and more data, even if it's not formally collected, to say that it affects schooling and education.
Our calculations show that the tax collected by the government is only 0.0002% of the total tax. I think Advocate had done that number. So Sudarshini and I are fighting this battle, and I hope with everybody's support we would be able to get to that point. So zero tax on menstrual product through a voucher provided for those who require, it would actually be free then in that case, not just free of tax, but free for some people, others will have to pay, but not taxed.
So the Sri Lankan setup in the schools, this menstrual health and hygiene is now has come to the forefront on the discussion, which we are very happy about it. And long time, the government, successive governments have been working on providing basic infrastructure facilities to the schools. So we are in a better footing in related to some of the infrastructure, like over 92% schools having water sanitation facilities, and almost that high number having toilet facilities.
We'll be back with foreign news.
ඔබ LED විදුලි පහනක් මිලදී ගන්නා විට අවම බලශක්ති කාර්ය සාධන ලේබලයේ තිබේදැයි පරීක්ෂා කර බලන්න. අඛණ්ඩ විදුලි සැපයුමකට සහාය වෙමු.
එසැනින් වගකීමෙන් සවිස්තරාත්මකව තොරතුරු දැනගන්න. සයිබර් අවකාශයේ ජාතික පුවත් වාර්තාකරණය. රූපවාහිනී නිවුස් YouTube channel ඔබත් අදම subscribe කරන්න.
Foreign news now. It's Super Tuesday in the US, the biggest day of the 2024 election so far, when people in 15 states will vote for their presidential candidate. States spanning from east to the west coast are voting, plus one territory, America Samoa. Donald Trump is the frontrunner to win the Republican nomination, having beaten his rival Nikki Haley in all state contests. Though Haley won in the Washington, D.C., but Haley was so far refused to give up, saying she will stick around at least until the Super Tuesday has concluded. President Biden is all but uncontested for the Democratic nomination, though last week he faced a protest vote in Michigan due to the war in Gaza. Some of the most popular candidates in each state will be awarded delegates by their party. They need to win a certain number of delegates to get their party's nomination. In past election cycles, Super Tuesday has provided a clear indication of which candidates will win their party's presidential nominations. In 2020, for example, Joe Biden brought Bernie Sanders' march to Democratic nomination to a crashing halt after he won 10 of the Super Tuesday states. But this year, Super Tuesday carries far less suspense. Both parties already have a clear sense of who their nominees will be, as Biden and Trump have cruised through the early voting states.
The World Health Organization says that children are dying of starvation in northern Gaza. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the agency visits over the weekend to the Al Abada and Kamal Adwan hospitals for the first since early October. In a post on social media, he spoke of grim findings. A lack of food resulted in the deaths of 10 children and severe levels of malnutrition, while hospital buildings have
Updates for you from the Sri Lanka Air Force cycle tour. Bas Rajapakse of the Sri Lanka Army won the first place of the third stage of the Air Force cycle tour.
The race started this morning in Polonnaruwa town. This event has been organized in line with the 73rd anniversary of the Sri Lanka Air Force. The Air Force Cycle Tour has been organized this year for the 25th time. Nadisha Eshan of the Sri Lanka Air Force won the first stage of this tour. Nipun Sonal of Sri Lanka Ports Authority won the second stage yesterday. Today's race was conducted from Polonnaruwa to Trincomalee with a stretch of 125.7 kilometers. The cyclists passed Giritale, Mineria, Kantale, Kapalture, Abeyapura Junction and arrived at the Trincomalee town. The race ended at the Trincomalee coastal belt. It is significant that today's champion Bas Rajapakse won the second place yesterday as well. Sanju Dimanta of Sri Lanka Air Force secured the second place today, while Senal Chamod of Sri Lanka Police won the third place. This cycle tour is live telecasted through the ChannelEye of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. Sri Lanka won the first T20 international cricket match against Bangladesh by 3 runs. The match was played yesterday in Sylhet.
Well, that's it. That's a look at Rupavahini News for tonight. Thanks a lot for joining us.